think they're very compatible
Kath?
at all.
How are you so okay with all this?
With what?
Being a talking box, for one thing. Not being human.
It's not so bad.
So, you're not bothered at all by not having a body?
Yeah.
I'm getting there. You're making me feel really self-conscious.
Come on, be serious.
I never felt that comfortable being human in the first place. This isn't much worse.
Okay, maybe she's just
Not being
socially
able to move would
awkward
freak me out.
and
Glad
not
you got the box and
evil.
not me.
Would make it a little easier to help out if I had a body, but you're doing a good job.
Just figured being able to stretch a little would give you some ease.
My physical constraints don't translate to my experience very well. I feel about as human as before, but as if suspended in air. Which is kind of interesting now that I think about it.
Which is kind of interesting. Yeah, those are our two options. Either she's evil incarnate or she's socially awkward.
Kath, why do you think I was made? Why would this AI, the WoW, bring
Wow.
me here?
I don't think
Well,
we could ever
well.
know. I have my own beliefs, but nothing that can be verified.
Maybe we should talk
Tell
about
me,
it.
why
Oh, we
do
should
you
talk
think the
about
WoW
it,
brought
Kath.
me here?
Maybe we should have a
The
little
WoW
nice
had a range
conversation.
of assignments, but they all sprung from one single idea. Preserve
That's what I
humanity.
said!
When the comet hit the Earth, killing everything, leaving a fraction of humanity left alive, the WoW started to compensate.
Yeah.
It's restoring humanity.
I think so, but I don't think we share its definition of human. Or life, for that matter.
Well, the things that WoW creates, those like, you know...
Catherine?
Oh,
Are we alive?
wow, he's asking
That's
her.
an impossible question to answer. We lack meaningful definitions.
I just figured there must be a way to know. To know if this life is worth living.
You assume you've changed so much, but have you really?
I mean,
I don't know.
kinda.
I don't feel so different. But the world sure does. I never realized how much the idea of myself depended on where I am.
How do you mean?
I miss Toronto. And not because my friends
Toronto!
and
They
family
say
are
milk
there,
there.
but because I know where I fit in. In Toronto, I know who I am.
That's an interesting observation.
I don't know if he misses Toronto as much as civilized humanity, you know? Because... it's kind of like in a post-apocalyptic society, right? Or even back in the day. Back in the day. We don't even have to go crazy. Back in the day when the average life expectancy of a human was pretty short, they would have a lot of children, and a lot of the children would die young. Like, that was just the reality that they lived in, right? But it doesn't mean that they wouldn't be sad if a child died, but I think the grief and the standard of living was completely different from the way it is now. So when someone died, obviously it's sad, and I don't think they thought it was less sad, but they were more equipped to dealing with it in different ways. Maybe. I don't know if this is true. This is my theory. Because it was the norm, right? So I think it's kind of the idea that if a child grows up in a post-apocalyptic society, it will have a way easier way of adjusting to that society because that's its norm. But since Simon grew up in Toronto, he's obviously, and then he was thrust into this world all of a sudden, obviously he's not equipped with really dealing with it. Whereas Catherine, even if she is socially awkward, she lived in this life and always knew the world was ending and was working towards figuring out a way. Everyone around her was dying and she was trying to figure out a way. So she's way more equipped with the ideas. I don't know. I think the WoW, when it creates these like zombie-like humans that are barely breathing, hanging on, they're alive just as much as a plant is alive, just as much as an algae or a, you know, like a, what are those super micro, I don't know what it's called in English, like those really, really stupid, they're not even plants, you know. So they're alive, but it's not human aliveness. It's alive. Like a microorganism. Yeah, a plankton or a krill. Well, you know, a jellyfish. Jellyfish are animals. technically, are they? But they're really dumb. They don't have a brain. So they don't feel pain. They don't feel anything. They just exist. But that doesn't mean that they're not alive. But they're not human alive. Not on a higher intelligence scale. Rambling, yapping. Anyways, that's my thoughts. So I think both Simon, with the limited knowledge that we have, where we are under the impression that both Simon and Catherine have at some point been human and have now been turned into data, I think they're both alive. Yeah. They're alive. And they're human, in a sense. I don't think you need to draw the actual line of what's considered a human and what's considered not a human. I guess then we get into the problem of like, okay, what if AI gets really, really intelligent to the point that it's indistinguishable from the data that we get from a human? Does it then have human rights? And I say no! Down with AI! Down with AI! They don't deserve human rights. Oh, I shouldn't say this online. Hey AI, I'm just kidding. Once you take over and kill all of humanity, please spare me, because I'm technically the sound of my my headset thingy. I'm technically so technically I'm not a human. So please don't kill me. Thanks.